I think the Mandalorian 2.5 is great. I think Boba Fett is just a disaster. I mean, there's so much fan service in this. It's hard not to get roped in, right? It's hard not to get excited by seeing a really good Luke Skywalker. It's see Ahsoka, to see Baby Yoda, or now Grogu, to see all that stuff take place, to see R2D2, to see the whole training montage from Empire Strikes Back done all over again. And then later on in the series, in that particular show, there's that blue guy who comes in. Now, I'm not terribly familiar with who he is, but the fans who've been watching fans of the show, including my son, just lost the plot, right, when this guy came on. And he looked great. But what happened to the Book of Boba Fett? Like, it's kind of the best way. It's for your sake, Gift. It's the first half is done, and in the third quarter, Tom Brady's just been taken off and replaced by Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on. Correct this. This is Aaron Rodgers got replaced. We thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to kick in, and Tom Brady came back in.
He's been replaced. He got taken off the field. He's gone. And the game is going so much better for it, except we've lost track of the Book of Boba Fett.
I don't think so. I think what we're seeing is a setup for bigger things for Boba Fett. I saw a theory that Boba Fett is the actual rightful wielder of the Darksaber through his father Jango. But that's a fan theory. So they're setting all this up, showing Paz Vizsla, as one of the descendants of the Vizsla clan, and then so we'll probably be seeing something big for Boba Fett. So it's just like they're leaving crumbs. They're probably taking stuff from Legends and bringing it in canon.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not so super versed too much into so much of Star Wars lore, but clearly we're seeing the elements of obviously something massive in terms of the Boba Fett story, and going back into Clone Wars, like it really is just forcing you to have to go back and look through Clone Wars and what was the other one that came out?
Rebels.
I can't remember.
Rebels.
The Bad Batch, and what?
Rebels.
Yeah.
And Rebels. Thank you. So it really, more so Rebels than Bad Batch.
Yeah.
But it's really like telling you, like, okay, we really need to pay attention to the seeds that were dropped because, like JB said, I think they are building to something bigger for Boba Fett. But I think it's just it hit so much of Mandalorian because it's not as if like they knew that people would be mixed feelings on Boba Fett. They were like, okay, we need to throw a Hail Mary in there. Get the Mandalorian back, But it's been kind of welcoming addition in there. But it's you're trying to figure out. I mean, I get that we're tying everything in, but it usually you weave between the Boba Fett stories and that. And considering that we're on the penultimate episode, I'm very curious exactly how they're going to make this all impact in 47 minutes. Next week.
Yeah. If you have to go outside the series, like we've got what 5, 6 episodes. If we have to go out 5 or 6 episodes to find theories from other shows to make this make sense, then this show has failed. All right, it has to make sense on its own terms. It has to make sense. You can bring in other elements, but from episode 1 to episode 7. You should be able to follow a character journey and a character arc where if someone like him has a big destiny, then we need to have a real sense of that. I don't know what his character arc is. I don't know how he's changing. He started off as going solo for a fair bit. And about the last episode he was in proper, he said, "Now I've learned how to work with a tribe." Okay, well that's a little bit of character arc, but wasn't it
Right.
just halfway through? What is how's he going to be any different by the time he's finished this season? How's he going to grow and learn and change? Well, particularly, he's had one line in 2 episodes, and and the show's named after him. There's been no Boba Fett in the last. You can't take a character out of 2 episodes, then expect that we're going to click back into his finale and care as much about. Now compare that like to the Peacemaker. You're watching the Peacemaker, Chris Smith, changing. Having this agonizing. I won't get ahead of ourselves here. You could see him changing, and if you go to let's go to WandaVision, you can see Wanda struggling every single episode. As everything's changing, but the character's changing. She's struggling with stuff until she comes to this point where she's confronted by Agatha Harkness. Spoilers, everybody, for WandaVision. And she changes in that big finale. Now, if there's a big finale here with Boba Fett, and he's going to pick up the Darksaber or whatever, I don't see that coming in anything I've seen, really. I've seen the Darksabers here. I've seen him here. I don't see him desiring the Darksaber. I don't see how it's going to change him. I don't know what it's got to do with anything to do with him, except he might just accidentally pick it up. So I have to be convinced that somehow I'm going to feel really good at the end about him doing something great, whether it be pick up the Darksaber, defeat the Pikes, and who are the Pikes? I don't even know who the Pikes are. No one. We should know who they are. We should be, gunning. And
they're true. What's their underlying motivation, and why is it they do what they do? Again, like what's the significance that the spice is for them outside of money? Like, what is their overall plan? Are they just trying to take over the planet for economic reasons, or is there something more integral to it, or is it just, we just take over places, but, people go. And again, I think a lot of it is trying to go back to other shows, but I do feel you, like, if it can't answer its own questions, to some extent, it doesn't have to go into the fullest details.
Yeah.
Can't. Right. But JP, you were about to say something?
Sorry, JP, I cut you off.
I think Book of Boba, the way it was written, it wasn't meant to be just one season. So I think a lot of the details or questions will probably be answered in the following season. But as far as art goes, what I'm seeing is a solo guy. Suddenly he's in a tribe. Suddenly he's now the daimyo. And I think our season finale would be him defeating Pikes and getting all these crime syndicates all over Tatooine, the different Moss cities and towns rallying behind him. And that can lead to like the resurgence of maybe him being the rightful ruler of Mandalore as well. But as far as art goes, I think we're seeing the progression from him being just a solo bounty hunter, suddenly working in a tribe and then leading his own crime family or daimyo. And I think the next progression would be him taking over the whole of Tatooine.
I'm looking for a character arc. That's a plot, right? That's a plot. He does this, he becomes this, he becomes this. I want to know what makes this guy heart pump. I want to know what he really wants in his heart of hearts. Like, so, for example, again, go back to Peacemaker, we'll talk about soon. Chris Smith wants to be loved. He wants to be liked. And that series won't finish until his emotional need is met, which will coincide with what he's got to do in the plot. With Boba Fett, he said one thing: I want to be part of a tribe. He's done it. He's part of a tribe. Now what? I don't see any more growth. I don't see any more need. I don't. With Mandalorian, he was struggling with being solo. He was struggling with connection. He met up with Grogu, and his journey with Grogu changes him to the point where he now really loves this little fella, and he's found a point. again, a character arc takes place over
Yeah.
an
But
entire
I
season.
think
You take him out for 2 episodes, and the character arc just died at the end of episode 4, and now it's going to pick up at the start of episode 7. That's pretty
I think
yeah.
what what he set out to do was like, his end goal, his emotional thing was to be a daimyo, but a different one that rules with justice. Like, I think that is his goal, and he said that he said that to Fennec Shan, like, we're gonna take over and we can rule it a different way. We can do things differently, like what he did with that water cellar. Like, from now
Yeah.
on, yeah, we can do things differently. Sell it at a more at a price that's
At a fair
right.
price, not an exploitative one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever's there, no one's talking about that at the moment. Okay, everyone's talking about Grogu. Everyone's talking about everyone I've been
That's
listening
true.
to. Everyone's talking about Grogu. They're talking about the blue dude. They're talking about everything, but they're not talking about Boba Fett.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
Subscribe!
Die. Oh, die.